Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jake, and for this week we're talking about some changes that we have dealt with between being female and male. Before I get into this video though, I'd like you guys to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram account. I also apologize for the spinning catastrophe that's happening up above me and the glare on my glasses. I can't control these. I guess I could turn off my fan, but I'm hot, so I need it. Some of the topics I would like to go over is changes in privilege, how the world has identified or has an impact on my identity, and the way I've kind of lost an identity and then adapted to a new one. So privilege is definitely something that was very hard for me to talk about in this video. Not that I haven't felt it, but it's something that's kind of touchy and I wasn't really sure how to address it. There's definitely privilege to being a man, and it's just as simple as getting more money or having someone hold open the door for you or just having these expectations that the world kind of owes you things, if that kind of makes sense. And I didn't really realize it until I transitioned, and I knew that women were treated like shit and men kind of had this authority, power, even if they weren't even in power. They still kind of held this authority about themselves. And I didn't realize how much that would kind of like affect me, kind of in a sense. I kind of felt like I would just stay the same and it wouldn't really change. But being a woman, identifying as a woman, even as a lesbian, I would definitely say that it's a lot different. I definitely had a lot of people whisper about me when I left the room, or even in the room I've had people like point their fingers at me or gawk about me and things like that. And kind of as a man, when I walk into a room, I'm like meant to be there, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that women don't belong in positions of power or authority or anything like that. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just kind of saying that I almost have an excuse where women don't have an excuse. And one of the biggest examples I can use is boys will be boys. I hate that fucking excuse. I've hated it since I was a kid and I still hate it now. Boys will be how you raise them. Boys will treat others how you raise them to treat others. That's just how it's going to be. And I really hate that excuse of boys will be boys. And that's something that I noticed when I transitioned. Before identifying as a woman, like I said, other than the looks and the comments and being more harassed and bullied, I also kind of noticed my behavior wasn't always acceptable in situations. And I noticed it when I transitioned because I would kind of do the same things and I would get different reactions from people. So as a female, when I acted a certain way, people would kind of look at me and be like, why would you say that? Like, you're a girl, you're so weird, kind of thing, you know? And when I say it as a dude, people laugh like, oh my God, you're so funny, haha, you know? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Women aren't really being taken seriously until a man says it, the exact same thing, and people are like, oh my God, that makes sense, you're so hilarious, like, I never thought of that. And I didn't realize this divide until I did this transition, and it definitely breaks my heart to know how shitty we actually really treat women. And I knew women were always treated less, you know? I knew they had the shit end of the stick. I just didn't realize how much shit was on that stick. And it's something that I definitely struggle with, and I try my hardest to kind of break those boundaries when people try to excuse my behavior or say things that I wouldn't find offensive. So kind of like giving an example to that, people who don't know I'm trans will, you know, they just kind of assume I'm just a dude, you know? So they kind of say things around me and they say stuff, and I'm just kind of like, no, I'm gonna correct you on that because that's just fucking straight privilege and that sucks. And they don't realize it until I say something and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, true. But those are things that I've noticed in changes. As a man, I definitely feel like I get away with more things. I get away more with my language. I get away more with the way I dress, the way I treat other people. the way I talk and present myself. I'm not saying that women can't do things that guys do, because they definitely can. There's this huge uproar right now of women and men joining each other and really just upholding the rights and privileges of women, and bringing it forth to authorities to understand that women are fucking human beings and they deserve everything that a man does. And I definitely support that, and I would definitely say I'm a feminist. And being a feminist as a male is definitely a little bit more different than being a feminist as a female. For an example, when you say you're a feminist as a female, people just kind of go, oh, yeah, like, shut the fuck up, you know, you're so hard done by. And I know that from experience, okay? Like, when I've said something, people just kind of go, oh, yeah, like, whatever, it doesn't matter, like, you're just kind of, you know, saying that because you're a girl, you know? Like, of course you would say that. But when a dude says something about the way we treat women, it's taken a little bit more differently, because, you know, it's kind of that whole, well, how could a man understand how a woman feels type thing? You know, so it's almost like people take what I say differently now as a man when I talk about women's rights and power and privilege and things like that. I don't really talk too much about that in my workplace, but I definitely would say that I feel those changes. Even being a lesbian in a workplace, it was definitely a lot more harassment, a lot more bullying going on. And when I started to transition and I kind of looked like a dude, kind of looked like a girl, that weird, awkward 1 year, you know, that we all go through. And I definitely felt that same kind of tug of war as well, you know, where I was being looked at differently and people spoke about me behind my back, and I was kind of bullied and not taken seriously and treated less. And then when I started to look more like a cisgendered male, I definitely noticed that switch of the way people treated me, especially in the workforce and or the work field, whatever you want to call it, and feeling those privileges or those excuses that we give to males. And I don't excuse my behavior, I try not to, but I notice, you know, sometimes other people kind of do, you know, they kind of accept when I do things because it's just how guys are. And I really don't want to do that. So I try to break those molds. You know, like I try to wear pinks, or I've actually, right this week, actually, I really wanted to paint my nails. And that's something that I haven't done since I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. And I really wanted to paint my nails this week. And the reason being is because I in my other video, I talked about how I take the bus, and painting my nails and taking the bus would be a great opportunity to kind of show people that, you know, like I can paint my nails as well, and it doesn't really matter if you're a boy or a girl, like you can have your nails painted. So I thought this week would be perfect to do that, and that's something that I think I want to kind of do, not only for myself, but it kind of almost as a social experiment, just to kind of like see what people would say to me. You know, I think when I do see guys with painted nails, they are a bit more on the flamboyant or girlier side. So I feel that people almost accept it. Not that, see, this is touchy, and I don't want to offend anyone. They would almost accept it as in terms of, oh, okay, like that's just how he identifies kind of thing. Whereas if, I'm not like any tough guy or anything like that, but you know what I mean? Like a dude who isn't very flamboyant had painted nails, it would kind of like shed different light on it, you know? Just who cares, their nails kind of thing, if that makes sense. So that's something that I kind of wanted to try out for this week. I really hope that I kind of shed some light on the privilege. If I didn't, please let me know in the comments down below what you'd like me to further explain. Or if I said something that was offensive, let me know, because I'm not trying to offend anyone. I could talk about all this stuff for like hours on end, and I'm really trying to make this video like 15 minutes long. We're already at 9 minutes, and I have like 2 more topics to talk about, so I'm trying hard to like condense all of my thoughts and feelings into a very, very short video, and it's extremely hard to do. So again, I do apologize if I don't address something, or if I say something that's offensive, because I'm not explaining it the way I'm seeing it in my head. So please just let me know. For me, the world has definitely impacted my identity in terms of feeling like I'm not ever going to be good enough as a trans man. And I'm not saying that all transgender men feel like this. I'm not saying that just because you're trans, you're gonna feel like this. But for me personally, I feel that I will never be happy with myself, and I will always have this competing feeling because I'm not cisgendered. And I think maybe it's because maybe a part of me hasn't really accepted the fact that I'm trans, you know? I mean, like, I've accepted that I'm trans and this is my life and this is how I identify, but it's a weird thing to really think about and really to accept. Like, there's just things I'm never gonna be able to do, there's things I'm never gonna be able to feel, and there's things I'm never gonna be able to have. And that's because I'm trans. Unfortunately, that's just how I kind of see things. And I know some other guys, you know, say like once you get your top surgery, some of the dysphoria goes and you feel a lot happier in yourself. I do believe that's true, but my problems come more so with down there. And that's kind of how the world impacts my identity and the way I see myself, because I feel like I'm not good enough as a man because I don't have a penis. Well, you know, trans dudes have their disclosure here. This is a little personal information. Or guys who are pre-T, you will experience a trans penis. So that's something to actually look forward to. But you just kind of ignore a little bit of that. It's kind of a little too personal for some people. But, you know, one that can produce and, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, yes, your genitalia changes and things like that. But for me, it's not up to standard of how I want it to be. And I know people say, oh, well, you can get surgery and you can correct things and correct it and stuff like that. But for me, it's not good enough. And I'm not saying that every trans dude feels like this or your genitals aren't good enough. That's not what I'm saying, because you do what you need to do to feel happy and whatever you want in your transition. But for me personally, I feel like getting bottom surgery isn't going to be good enough. And knowing that makes me feel saddened, because I feel that I'm always going to be trying to compete or be good enough. And I notice a lot in my relationships. And that's actually something that I kind of wanted to talk about when we get a free video week and stuff like that, is being trans and being in relationships. So it's something I do want to talk about, and I'm going to try to cut this little section short because, you know, I don't want to get too much into it. But yeah, I would definitely say that the way my body is, or the way I feel about my body, is kind of impacted the way that men are presented in the media and everything else. You know, guys are tall and they're usually chiseled and they always have these great packages in fucking the Calvin Klein boxers, which are definitely not real. But regardless of that, I see that and I'm like, wow, I don't look like that. So like, what am I? Am I not worth it? Am I not good enough? What's going on here? You know, I don't know. I just kind of feel this battle in myself, and it just really, yeah, it really impacts how I view myself as a trans man and as a person. So I do know those are insecurities that I'm trying to work out and deal with. I'm not sure if I can relate to anyone else, and if you guys do relate to that, please let me know. I don't want to be the only one. So yeah, so just let me know your guys' feelings on that. The last topic that I wanted to say or talk about is losing an identity and adapting to another one. And what I mean by that is I kind of felt like I lost my identity as a lesbian. And even though I identify as trans, I still kind of feel like I lost a part of myself, if that makes sense. Not that I want to go back or change anything that I've done over the past 5 years. I don't want to be a woman. I want to be a man 100%, 1,000%, a trillion, million, whatever percent. That's what I want to be. But I just feel like I lost parts of me. And I don't know how to explain it. I'm not sure if other dudes kind of feel like this as well. But it's just, it's different. I don't know. For one of the biggest examples I can kind of think about is my friends, my lesbian friends. Obviously, with my lesbian friends, I was a lesbian as well. and just shit was okay. I never really thought about it because there was nothing to think about. I was just normal. I was just part of the group. I was part of them. And now that I'm trans, or I look like a straight male, being with my lesbian friends, it's different. I feel outcasted. I feel like I don't belong. And they tell me I belong, you know, because I'm still part of the LGBT community. But at the same time, I feel weird. It's different now, you know. We talk about different things, and we kind of experience things differently now, and it's just this weird kind of loss that you experience, or that I've experienced from transitioning, and it's something I don't really know kind of how to cope with. It's weird to kind of try to have even straight friends, because, you know, they'll talk about things like, I have guy friends that say really personal things to me, and I'm like, whoa, I can't relate to that at all, because I can't do that. You know, so it's just, again, I don't feel like I can identify with my straight friends, and I can't really identify anymore with my lesbian friends. I'm kind of just like my own entity, my own loneliness in a sense. I'm not trying to like bum anyone down or anything like that, but you know, it is kind of like this overwhelming feeling of kind of feeling like you're alone, because you don't really identify solely with, you know, either end of the spectrum anymore, and it's just kind of like this weird feeling, and I'm not really sure how to explain it, but yeah, I definitely feel like I definitely lost some pieces of myself. So that is my little segment about being transgender, and kind of like bits of being a female to male and stuff like that. If I haven't touched on anything in the video, please let me know in the comments down below. I know this video is running really long, so if you guys watched it up to this point, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, or if I didn't say something that needed to be said, or if I didn't explain anything. Like I said, I was trying to condense this into a 15-minute video. Now it's 17 minutes. I apologize. And thank you guys so much. Stay humble. Bye.